Hare Krishna. Appearance Day of Lord Nrsimhadev Ki. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanodari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanodari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanodari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanodari. Sodanandana Bhattacharya Ranjana. Jasodanandana Bhattacharya Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanodari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanodari. Sodanandana Bhattacharya Ranjana. Jasodanandana Bhattacharya Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira vanachari. Jamuna tira vanachari. Jai Vishnu Paramahansa Prabhu Jagacharya Asadeva Sarashishi Maharaj Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananda Gaura Vaishnavani Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Premji Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasti Gaura Bhattavani Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Kiri Gaurang Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Mayapurnavi Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai The Appearance Day of Lord Nrsimhadev Ki Jai The Disappearance Day of Hiranyakashipu Ki Jai Our glorious some devotees Our glorious some devotees Our glorious some devotees Our glorious Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Okay. I wasn't planning on it, but I guess we could just chant this and all. Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we read from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 8, Text number 1. Can I get a book? Book. Meanwhile, I'll tell you a Nrsimhadev. You want to hear a Nrsimhadev pastime? A contemporary Nrsimhadev pastime. South Africa. Nirjumna Swami. He's visiting the temple there. I think it's the Sri Sri Radha Radhanath temple in Durban. And he's at the Sunday feast, and a little girl comes up. He's taking prasad, and she says, "Oh, Maharaj, I saw Lord Nrsimhadev." He said, "Oh, that's nice." And then she went and played and came back and said, "Maharaj, I saw Lord Nrsimhadev. I saw Lord Nrsimhadev." Oh, that's nice. Yeah. And then he knew the father of this girl. She was about maybe 8 years old. And he said, "Yeah, your daughter's very attached to Lord Nrsimhadev. She keeps on coming and telling me she saw Lord Nrsimhadev." He said, "Well, she did." He told what happened. He had a house there not far from the temple. And it was lunchtime, so the mother was calling her to come take lunch. She ran across the street, and when she was running across the street, she got hit by a car. And she got thrown about 15 feet. And the father saw this, so he's like, you can imagine, he's like devastated. He's running. He tried to jump over the fence to go to her, and he didn't quite make it, so he broke his leg. So then the ambulance came and took her to the hospital, and she got to the hospital, and the doctors, they can't see anything wrong with her, and they said, "Do you feel any pain anywhere?" He said, "No." Lord Nrsimhadev came and he caught me. He protected me. And there was still some marks from Lord Nrsimhadev's nails on the back. She felt those. He said, "Yeah, Lord Nrsimhadev came and he saved me." Because the doctors they were like, what? Of course, there were some devotees there. But she got hit so hard, but there was no damage on her body. And she just got up and walked away. So after Narayana Swami heard this, he saw she was taking prasadam. So he waited for her to finish prasad, and he went over, he got some remnants. Take some remnants. Some special devotee. You never know who these devotees are. Pretty amazing. Okay, so we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 8, text number 1. Srinaru Vacha Atadhaitya Sutta Sarve Shudvatad Anuvarnitam Jagruhur Niravadya Vam Dhaiva Gurva Sitam Srinaru Vacha Atadhaitya Sutta Sarve Shudvatad Anuvarnitam Jagruhur Niravadya Dhaiva Gurva Sitam Srinaru Vacha Atadaitya Sutta Sarve Shudvatad Anuvarnitam Jagruhur Niravadyan Dhaiva Gurva Sitam. Srinardu Vacha, Sri Nardamuni said, Atta, thereupon, Daitya-sutta, the sons of the demons, the class friends of Prahlad Maharaj, Sarve, all, Shrudva, hearing, Tat, by him, Prahlad, Anuvarnitam, the statements about devotional service, Jagruhu, accepted, Niravadjadvat, due to the supreme unity of that instruction. Due to the supreme utility of that instruction. Na, not, eva, indeed, Guru Anusikshitam, that which was taught by their teachers. Translation and purport. By His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Narada Muni continued, all the sons of the demons appreciated the transcendental instructions of Prahlad Maharaj and took them very seriously. They rejected the materialistic instructions given by their teachers, Sunda and Umarka. Purport. This is the effect of preaching, of the preaching of a pure devotee like Prahlad Maharaj. If a devotee is qualified, sincere and serious about Krishna consciousness, and if he follows the instructions of a bona fide spiritual master, as Prahlad Maharaj did when preaching the instructions he had received from Narada Muni, his preaching is effective, as it is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Satang prasangang mama virya sangvadho bhavanti vritkarna masaya nakata. If one tries to understand the discourses given by the Sat, or pure devotees, those instructions will be very pleasing to the ear and appealing to the heart. Thus, if one is inspired to take to Krishna consciousness, and if one practices the process in his life, he is surely successful in returning home back to Godhead. By the grace of Prahlad Maharaj, all his class friends, the sons of the demons, became Vaishnavas. Wow, that's powerful. These are demons. These are sons of demons. Prabhupada says here, they all became devotees. They all became Vaishnavas. They did not like hearing from their so-called teachers, Sanda and Amarka, who were interested only in teaching them about diplomacy, politics, economic development, and similar topics meant exclusively for sense gratification. Om Jnana Timarandasya Gnanjana Salakaya Chakshur Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Krotavatalam Pangunlong Hayate Grim Yat Kripa Taraham Bande Shigurum Dinadaranam Vanchakapati Vischa Kripa Sindhivye Vicha Patitanam Pavanevya Vaishnavevyo Namo Namah. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktavan Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. In one purport, Prabhupada he quotes from some shastra, Pralada Haryaladam Bhaktavidya Vitardanam. This is a prayer to Lord Nrsingadev. The devotee prays, please Lord Nrsingadev, who was always enlightening Prahlad Maharaj and destroying the ignorance of your devotees, please be merciful to me. So this is Lord Nrsingadev. He is very merciful to devotees of the Lord, especially as we've seen, especially with Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj was such a great Vaishnava. And although he was such a great Vaishnava, still he went to school. He went to the Gurukul. But the teachers, Sanda and Amarka, they didn't teach what Brahmanas should be teaching. They're actually Brahmanas. But they were teaching, as it said here, they were teaching about economic development, politics, diplomacy, how to become powerful, how to conquer your enemy. These are Brahmanas. But Prahlad Maharaj, he wasn't interested in that. And from his preaching, the boys, they also weren't interested in this. So, just like any father, they want to hear from their son what they've learned in school. So Hiranyakasipu, he called over, told Sanda and Amarka, bring Prahlad. So Hiranyakasipu asked him, so, my dear son, Prahlad, what have you learned in school? So he said, Tatsadamanye Suryabhaya Dehinam Sadasamugdita. He told me, what is it? Sadasamugdita. He told me, I'm a little rusty on that verse. But anyway, he says that, my dear father, O best of the demons. And when Hiranyakasipu heard that, best of the demons, he was like, and it felt good, the best of the demons. From what I've learned from my spiritual master, anyone who accepts the temporary and material body and temporary grihastha life is embarrassed by many anxieties, having fallen into the dark well where there's no water, but there's only suffering. So the best thing you can do, Father, is go to the forest. Specifically, go to Vrindavan, and there surrender to the Supreme Personality of God. So he looked at Sanda and Amarka. Where's he learning this from? Didn't get it from us. Yeah. So he said, anyway, you go and teach him. I don't know where's he getting this from, but anyway, just teach him properly. He's speaking like the enemy. So this is Hiranyakasipu. He thought that the devotees were his enemies, but actually they were his friends. And so fortunate he was to have Prahlad Maharaj as a son. And it's amazing. He thought such a wonderful son to be an enemy. So this is the material world. So SanDiego and Marco, when they took him aside, so they asked him, so where did you learn all this from? And Prahlad Maharaj replied, I'm not independent. Yeah. I'm attracted to Krishna, just like iron is attracted to a magnet. I'm not independent. This is the mercy of Krishna. So this is actually the goal, to become so attracted to Krishna that our only interest is in serving Krishna. So Prahlad Maharaj, he achieved that great goal of attraction to Krishna. So SanDiego and Marco, they were trying to teach him more again. And then again, his father called for him. What have you learned? And then he said, Matirna Krishna Partasvatova Mito Vivedi Grishavatanam Adanta Govir Visitam Tamir Punapanas Charvata Charvanam Matirna Krishna Partasvatova. Because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to material life make progress toward a hellish condition of life and continually chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclinations toward Krishna are never woken by their own endeavor, by the endeavor of others, nor by a combination of both. So this is the situation of Hiranyakasipu. Uncontrolled senses. Didn't know what was best for him. But inconceivably fortunate, Hiranyakasipu had such a son. It's like there's one interesting incident in Russia. There was one young boy, about 13 years old. He somehow he got a book and became attracted to Krishna, and he got more books. And he was reading these books, and he was so much appreciating the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. But he was a little anxiety, because his parents, if they found out that he was reading these books, they'd be very upset. So then he got news from some devotees that there was a big festival taking place about 100 miles away, and he really wanted to participate in that festival. But then he thought, what are my parents, how am I going to get around that? So he told me he's going to go on a camping trip with a friend for 3 days or so. So they said, yeah, okay. But then he thought, what about the books? If they read these books, I could be in trouble. So he got a chest, and he put all the books in a chest, and he locked them up. He locked up the books. So then he went to the festival, had a great time, came back. The parents weren't at home. Then he noticed that the chest had been opened. They broke the lock. And now he's thinking, oh no, now I'm in trouble. So then the parents came back, and he's waiting to get some chastisement. And then the father said to the boy, why didn't you tell us you had these books? He said, well, I was afraid you might be upset. He said, upset? We're not upset at all. We were curious what you were reading, and we broke it open, and we've been reading these books for the past couple of days. And they're wonderful. They're wonderful. They're fantastic. And we were thinking how fortunate we are to have a son that's a saint. Yeah? So they were so happy. They all became devotees. The whole family became devotees.
They did chastise.
Yeah. Yeah. Why didn't you tell us? So it was a pleasant chastising. So imagine, Prahlad Maharaj is such a great devotee, just like I mentioned the other day that he's not only one of the Mahajans, but he's one of the devotees that perfected one of the 9 processes of devotional service. He's just like there's the Swayambhur, Narasimha, Kumara, Kapilam, Palado, Janako Bilam, Balir, Vyasakiravayam. These are the 12 Mahajans. He must be the youngest. Yeah, he's the youngest Mahajan. But then he's also the best at which service? Remembering. He was the best at remembering the Lord. And his grandson, who was his grandson? Bali Maharaj. He also was in both categories. He was the one who surrendered everything. Yeah. And then Swayambhur Narasimha, Kumara, Palito, Swayambhur Narasimha, Kumara, Kapila, Palado, Janako, Bhisma, Balir. He's Balir Vyasakiravayam. And then also Sukadeva Goswami. The other day I said Vyasa, actually it was Sukadeva Goswami. He's also in both categories. So such a great son, but very unfortunate Hiranyakasipu couldn't take advantage of such a great son. So again he called him, "What have you learned, my dear son?" So then he chanted this verse, Shravanam Kirtana Vishnu Smaranam Padase Archana Vandanam Sakyamat Madhavayana. And then he chanted these others, started chanting other verses. He threw him off his lap, and he told his demoniac servants, "Kill him. He's a thorn in our family. Kill him." Imagine, someone can be so demoniac that they're ready to kill their 5-year-old son. Of course, now throughout the world, people are killing their babies in the womb. About, I don't know, something like 50 million a year abortions. So it's so demoniac. But here, Prahlad's 5 years old, affectionate son, well, he wished that he was affectionate to him. So he wanted him to be killed. And it's described that they tried to kill him in about, 15 different ways. Tried to boil him in oil. Tried to have him trampled on by an elephant, thrown off a cliff. What other ways? Poison, tried to poison him. Snakes from a snake pit. Yeah, I mentioned that one. What else? So many ways tried to kill him. Yeah, I mentioned that one. And what else? Anyway, they attacked him with weapons. So many ways they tried to, but they couldn't kill him. Rakhe Krishna More Krishna Rakhe. If Krishna wants someone to die, no one can save. If Krishna wants to save someone, no one can kill him. And in this verse, Prabhupada mentions how sometimes one may be very ill and get a good doctor, best doctor, but the doctor can't save him. When someone else who's also very well, doesn't even have a doctor, but he becomes healthy. Or parents may be raising a child very carefully, very affectionately, and raise him to be a a good success in society, doctor or lawyer. In India, I heard it's a saying that if your son's not a doctor or a lawyer, he's a failure. You heard this one? Yeah. So, yeah, the parents are raising their children to be a success, but then, sometimes they become Hare Krishnas. What a disappointment. Or devotees, parents are trying to raise their children to be nice devotees, and they just go out and become fruitive workers. So it's a disappointment. Or Prabhupada gives the example, there might be a ship, a very good ship, but sometimes the good ship sinks, like the Titanic. Biggest cruise ship ever. So many people. It was like 3,000 people on it or something like that. And there was a statement in the newspaper, even God can't sink this ship. And then it sank the first time. Krishna accepted the challenge. 1,500 people died. They didn't have enough lifeboats. 1,500 people died. So, Krishna is the supreme controller. We may have our plan, but Krishna, he has his plan. And Krishna's plan is always the best plan for our spiritual growth. So there's one verse I wanted to, in teaching his boys, his friends, there's a very nice verse here. This is 7th chapter, 7th canto, 6th chapter, text 24. Prahlad says, "Therefore, my dear young friends born of demons, please act in such a way that the Supreme Lord, who is beyond the conception of material knowledge, will be satisfied. Give up your demonic nature and act without enmity or duality. Show mercy to all living entities by enlightening them in devotional service, thus becoming their well-wishers." So he's telling them you should be kind, be merciful. So Prabhupada has gives a very nice purport here to this verse. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, "Bhakti amam vijanati yavanyas chadmi tattvata." One can understand the Supreme Personality of God as he is only by devotional service. Prahlad Maharaj ultimately instructed his class friends, the sons of the demons, to accept the process of devotional service by preaching the science of Krishna consciousness to everyone. So he wanted them to also go out and preach this message. Preaching is the best service to the Lord. I'll repeat that one. Preaching is the best service to the Lord. The Lord will immediately be extremely satisfied with one who engages in this service of preaching Krishna consciousness. There's another powerful sentence there by Prabhupada. The Lord will immediately be extremely, not just satisfied, he'll be extremely satisfied with one who engages in this service of preaching Krishna consciousness. This is confirmed by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita. Nacha tasma manusyesu kasyam me priyakritama. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. If one sincerely tries his best to spread Krishna consciousness by preaching the glories of the Lord and his supremacy, even if he is imperfectly educated, he becomes the dearmost servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is Bhakti. As one performs this service for humanity without discrimination between friends and enemies, the Lord becomes satisfied and the mission of one's life is fulfilled. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore advised everyone to become a guru devotee and preach Krishna consciousness. Yara Dekatarika Krishna Upadesh. That is the easiest way to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the easiest way to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By such preaching, the preacher becomes satisfied, and those to whom he preaches are also satisfied. This is the process of bringing peace and tranquility to the entire world. One is expected to understand these formulas of knowledge concerning the Supreme Lord, that He is the supreme enjoyer, that He is the proprietor of everything, and that He is the best well-wishing friend of everyone. There's an interesting little pastime with Prabhupada in this regard. There was one devotee who was distributing books, and he sent the results to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was pleased. But he said in his letter, expressing his pleasure, but don't cheat. Don't cheat the people. Now this is back when devotees were very upfront. Everybody is wearing dhoti and kurta. Very straightforward. So he wrote back to Prabhupada and asked Prabhupada, we're being very straightforward, trying to be honest. What do you mean about avoiding cheating while we're distributing books? He said, when you're distributing books, always remember, Krishna is the enjoyer. He is the proprietor. He is the friend. Otherwise you're cheating. Interesting, huh? That was Bhakti Dasa, who used to be the president here, right? I think. Yeah. So interesting, so preaching Krishna consciousness, there's also subtleties. It's not just, how we're enacting with the people, in our gross exchange, but also subtly we have to understand Krishna, He is the enjoyer, He is the proprietor, He is the friend of everyone. A preacher should personally understand these truths and preach them to everyone. Then there will be peace and tranquility all over the world. The word sauhardam, friendliness, is very significant in this verse. People are generally ignorant of Krishna consciousness, and therefore, to become their best well-wisher, one should teach them about Krishna consciousness without discrimination. Since the Supreme Lord Vishnu is situated in the core of everyone's heart, every body is a temple of Lord Vishnu. One should not misuse this understanding as an excuse for such words as Daridra Narayan. If Narayan lives in the house of a Daridra, a poor man, this does not mean that Narayan becomes poor. He lives everywhere, in the houses of the poor and those of the rich. But in all circumstances he remains Narayan. To think that he becomes either poor or rich is a material calculation. He is always Sadaishvarya Purna, full in 6 opulences, in all circumstances. So this preaching, this distribution of transcendental literature, and of course now we're doing more preaching on the internet, is so important. This is what is most needed throughout the world. Just like people before this coronavirus, people were, many people throughout the world, they were living a comfortable life. But now this unseen virus has come up, and it's just created chaos all over the world. So this is a time when people are searching, looking, why is this happening? And I think that after this lockdown is opened up, it's going to be great preaching opportunity. Because it's a place of suffering. Especially here in America, it's people have it pretty pretty easygoing life. But at any time, anything can happen like this. So we have to let them know that this is not a nice place. But there is a nice place beyond this world, the spiritual world. So I thought we could, you read up to where Hiranyakasipu had hit the pillar and the Nrsimhadev was coming out. So I thought we could read some of that. So this is text number 17, 7th canto, chapter 8. To prove the statement of his servant Prahlad Maharaj, to prove that the statement of his servant Prahlad Maharaj was substantial, in other words, to prove that the Supreme Lord is present everywhere, even within the pillar of an assembly hall, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari exhibited a wonderful form never before seen. The form was neither that of a man nor that of a lion. Thus the Lord appeared in his wonderful form in the assembly hall. While Hiranyakasipu looked all around to find the source of the sound, that wonderful form of the Lord, which could not be ascertained to be either a man or a lion, emerged from the pillar. There was one devotee distributing books, and he had a book that showed this picture of Nrsimhadev killing all the demons. He's got all his arms, and he's killing, and he's showing this to this student and his girlfriend, and the student's looking at that like, wow! And the devotee said, yeah, it's for stress. Yeah. They took the book. Devotee have it.
Creating or reducing?
Yeah, I don't know, but he liked it. He liked that statement. It's for stress. Yeah. In amazement, Hiranyakasipu wondered, what is this creature that is half man and half lion? Hiranyakasipu studied the form of the Lord, trying to decide who the form of Nrsimhadev standing before him was. The Lord's form was extremely fearsome because of his angry eyes, which resembled molten gold, his shining mane, which expanded the dimensions of his fearful face, his deadly teeth, his razor-sharp tongue, which moved about like a dueling sword. His ears were erect and motionless, and his nostrils and gaping mouth appeared like caves of a mountain. His jaws parted fearfully, and his entire body touched the sky. His neck was very short and thick, his chest broad, his waist thin, and the hairs on his body as white as the rays of the moon. His arms, which resembled flanks of soldiers, spread in all directions as he killed the demons, rogues, and atheists with his conch shell, disc, club, and lotus, and other natural weapons. Pretty intimidating form, huh? Next text, Hiranyakasipu murmured to himself, Lord Vishnu, who possesses great mystic power, has made this plan to kill me. But what is the use of such an attempt? Who can fight with me? Thinking like this, and taking up his club, Hiranyakasipu attacked the Lord like an elephant, just as a small insect falls forcefully into a fire, and the insignificant creature becomes invisible. When Hiranyakasipu attacked the Lord, who was full of effulgence, Hiranyakasipu became invisible. This is not at all astonishing, for the Lord is always situated in pure goodness. Formerly, during creation, he entered the dark universe and illuminated it by his spiritual effulgence. So Hiranyakasipu just kind of disappeared into the form of the Lord. Pretty amazing, huh? Thereafter the great demon Hiranyakasipu, who was extremely angry, swiftly attacked Nrsingadev with his club and began to beat him. Lord Nrsingadev, however, captured the great demon along with his club, just as Garuda might capture a great snake. O Yudhisthira, O great son of Bharat, when Lord Nrsingadev gave Hiranyakasipu a chance to slip from his hand, just as Garuda sometimes plays with a snake and lets it slip from its mouth, the demigods who had lost their abodes and who were hiding behind the clouds for fear of the demon did not consider that incident very good. Indeed, they were perturbed. When Hiranyakasipu was freed from the hands of Nrsingadev, he falsely thought that the Lord was afraid of his prowess. Therefore, after taking a little rest from the fight, he took up his sword and shield and again attacked the Lord with great force. Making a loud, shrill sound of laughter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, who was extremely strong and powerful, captured Hiranyakasipu, who was protecting himself with his sword and shield, leaving no gaps open. With the speed of a hawk, Hiranyakasipu moved sometimes in the sky and sometimes on the earth, his eyes closed because of fear of Nrsingadev's laughter. It's amazing, he couldn't open his eyes. The laughter was so fearful. You can't imagine. But it's interesting, his eyes are closed and he's going all over the sky and the land, but his eyes aren't open, so he's pretty awkward. As a snake captures a mouse, or Garuda captured a very venomous snake, Lord Nrsingadev captured Hiranyakasipu, who could not be pierced even by the thunderbolt of Indra. Imagine that. It's so powerful, the thunderbolt of Indra. Therefore he conquered Lord Indra. Everybody was conquered. As Hiranyakasipu moved his limbs here and there and all around, very much afflicted at being captured, Lord Nrsingadev placed the demon on his lap, supporting him with his thighs, and in the doorway of the assembly hall, the Lord very easily tore the demon to pieces with the nails of his hand. Lord Nrsingadev's mouth and mane were sprinkled with drops of blood, and his fierce eyes, full of anger, were impossible to look at, licking the edge of his mouth with his tongue. The Supreme Personality of God in Nrsingadev, decorated with a garland of intestines taken from Hiranyakasipu's abdomen, resembled a lion that had just killed an elephant. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who had many, many arms, first uprooted Hiranyakasipu's heart and then threw him aside and turned toward the demon's soldiers. Wow, imagine that. He just tears out his heart, throws it aside, and now he's telling the other soldiers, all right, come on, and they attacked him. These soldiers had come in the thousands to fight with him with raised weapons and were very faithful followers of Hiranyakasipu. But Lord Nrsingadev killed all of them merely with the ends of his nails. The hairs on Nrsingadev's head shook the clouds and scattered them here and there. His glaring eyes stole the effulgence of the luminaries in the sky, and his breathing agitated the seas and oceans. Because of his roaring, all the elephants in the world began to cry in fear. So he's still roaring, he's still angry, because of this demon Hiranyakasipu. He wasn't, although he had killed Hiranyakasipu, still he was pretty upset. Airplanes were thrown into outer space. So there's airplanes there. and the upper planetary system by the hair on the Shringadev's head. Because of the pressure of the Lord's lotus feet, the earth appeared to slip from its position, and all the hills and mountains sprang up due to the intolerable force. Because of the Lord's bodily effulgence, both the sky and all directions diminished in their natural illumination. Manifesting a full effulgence and a fearsome countenance, Lord Nrsimha, being very angry and finding no contestant to face his power and opulence, then sat down in the assembly hall on the excellent throne of the king. Because of fear and obedience, no one could come forward to serve the Lord directly. Hiranyakasipu had been exactly like a fever of meningitis in the head of the three worlds. Thus, when the wives of the demigods in the heavenly planets saw that the great demon had been killed by the personal hands of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, their faces blossomed in great joy. The wives of the demigods again and again showered flowers from heaven upon Lord Nrsimhadev like rain. At that time, the airplanes of the demigods who desired to see the activities of the Supreme Lord Narayan crowded the sky. The demigods began beating drums and kettle drums, and upon hearing them, the angelic women began to dance, while the chiefs of the Gandharvas sang sweetly. Time for a festival, huh? My dear King Yudhisthira, the demigods then approached the Lord. They were headed by Lord Brahma, King Indra, and Lord Shiva, and included great saintly personalities, and the residents of Pitraloka, Siddhaloka, Vidyadhara, and the planets of the snakes. The Manus approached, and so did the chiefs of the various other planets. Since there's no prasadam, should we continue? Okay. The angelic dancers approached, as did the Gandharvas, the Charanas, and the Yakshas, the inhabitants of Kanaraloka, the Vaitalas, the inhabitants of Kimpurusha, Loka, and the personal associates of Vishnu, like Sunanda and Kamuda. All of them came near the Lord, who glowed with intense light. They individually offered their obeisances and prayers, their hands folded at their heads. Any question, comment? Maharaj, like to say anything? Okay. Lord Nrsimhadev ki jai. Hiranyakasipu, boo.
I was wondering what you